The story of Ruth, a beautiful tale of love, loyalty, and faith. Bible story explained. Have you ever heard a story that begins in tragedy but ends in triumph? The story of Ruth is one of the most beautiful and inspiring tales in the entire Bible, a story of loyalty, kindness, and faith that changed the course of history. It begins in a small town called Bethlehem, during a time of great famine. A man named Elimelech, his wife Naomi, and their 2 sons left their home in search of food and a better life in the land of Moab. But things did not go as they hoped. Elimelech died, leaving Naomi a widow in a foreign country. Her 2 sons married Moabite women, Orpah and Ruth, and for a while, life went on. But after about 10 years, both of Naomi's sons also died. Naomi was heartbroken. Her husband was gone, her sons were gone, and all that remained were her 2 daughters-in-law. Hearing that the Lord had blessed her homeland with food again, Naomi decided to return to Bethlehem. She told Orpah and Ruth to go back to their own families and rebuild their lives. Orpah wept and said goodbye, but Ruth refused to leave Naomi's side. In one of the most powerful declarations of loyalty ever spoken, Ruth said, "Don't ask me to leave you or turn back from you. Where you go, I will go. Where you stay, I will stay. Your people will be my people, and your God will be my God." Ruth's words were more than a promise, they were a choice of faith. She left her homeland, her culture, and her gods behind to follow Naomi and serve the God of Israel. It was a bold step of devotion that would change her destiny forever. When Naomi and Ruth arrived in Bethlehem, the whole town was stirred. But they had nothing, no home, no money, no husbands to provide for them. Ruth, humble and determined, went out to gather leftover grain from the fields, a practice allowed for the poor. By what seemed like chance, but was truly divine providence, Ruth found herself working in the field of a man named Boaz, a kind, respected, and wealthy landowner who happened to be a relative of Naomi's late husband. Boaz noticed Ruth. He saw her hard work and heard of her kindness toward Naomi. Deeply moved by her story, Boaz told his workers to leave extra grain for her and spoke gently to her, saying, "May the Lord reward you for what you have done." Ruth continued to work in Boaz's fields throughout the harvest season. Every day she brought home plenty of grain, and Naomi's heart began to fill with hope again. She realized that Boaz was what the Israelites called a kinsman redeemer, a close relative who could redeem a family's inheritance by marrying a widow from the family line. Naomi saw the hand of God at work and encouraged Ruth to seek Boaz's protection. Following Naomi's wise counsel, Ruth approached Boaz one night after the harvest, humbly asking for his covering and redemption. Boaz was touched by her purity, her humility, and her loyalty. He promised to do all he could to redeem her, though there was another relative who had the first right to do so. The next day, Boaz went to the town gate where the elders met. He presented the matter openly, offering the nearer relative the chance to redeem Naomi's land and marry Ruth. The man declined, saying it might endanger his own estate. So, before the elders and witnesses, Boaz declared joyfully, "Today, I have acquired the right to redeem Naomi's land, and I will take Ruth the Moabite as my wife." And so, Ruth's story of loss turned into a story of love and new beginnings. Boaz and Ruth were married, and soon they had a son named Obed. Naomi's sorrow was replaced with joy as she held the baby in her arms. The women of the town said, "Praise be to the Lord, who has not left you without a redeemer today." That child, Obed, would grow up to become the father of Jesse, who became the father of King David. And generations later, from David's lineage came Jesus Christ, the Savior of the world. Isn't that amazing? A foreign widow, once poor and broken-hearted, became part of God's greatest redemption story. Ruth's life reminds us that no situation is too hopeless for God to transform. He can turn pain into purpose and loss into legacy. The story of Ruth teaches us that real love is more than words, it's loyalty, compassion, and faith in action. It shows us that when we choose faithfulness, even when life doesn't make sense, God can weave our story into something far greater than we ever imagined. So remember, no matter where you are in life, God sees your faith, your kindness, and your perseverance. And just like Ruth, your story isn't over yet, it may just be beginning. If you found this story inspiring, don't forget to like this video, share it with someone who needs encouragement today, and subscribe for more uplifting Bible stories that bring ancient truths to life.